Hello and welcome. In this video, we will learn to handle exceptions or errors. Okay? So, what is an exception? An exception is an event that interrupts the normal flow of a program. Okay? I will explain this quickly using a simple example and then go in detail. Alright? So here I will say while true, the boolean value, num1 is equal to int input and inside brackets enter the first number. Okay? And then I will copy this and paste it and change it to num2. Okay? And after this, I will say print num1 plus num2. Alright? I will run this. When I run this, it asks me to enter the first number. I will enter 5 and I will enter 3. When I hit enter, it calculates the sum and prints it out. And then once again it asks me to enter the first number because we have set the condition as true here. So this will keep on asking me the first and second numbers and it will keep on giving me the sum. Okay. So I will enter 8 and 6. I will enter 5 and 6. I will enter 2 and 14 and so on. Alright. Now, I will enter high and hit enter. And when I do that, I get an error saying invalid literal for int with base 10. Right? The program stopped here. It stopped executing when it was unable to handle this exception. Correct? Now, let us rectify this. What I want to do is change this program such that even if the user enters something else, an error message is displayed and the program continues as usual. Okay? For this, we use try and except. Okay? So what I will do here is say try and have a colon. And then I will indent these two lines. And inside the try, I will have this line 2. Okay? And here I will have except. And inside except, I will say wrong input. And I will say try again. Okay. Now let me run this. It says enter the first number. I will enter 5 and 6 for the second number. It says 11 and it continues. So here I will say anil and hit enter. And when I do that, it displays wrong input, try again, and then it continues with the program. Correct? The program doesn't crash here, giving us an error. Right? So even if I enter RRR, it says wrong input, try again, and then continues with the program. So I will enter 4 and 5. It says 9, 4 and 4, 8, high, wrong input, and it keeps on continuing. Right? So we have handled an exception here or an error here. Right? So this is what exception handling is. Okay? exceptions will interrupt our program if they are not handled properly. And to do that, we have try and except. Okay. So let me close this and continue with the topic. I will delete this. Now I will say print and inside brackets I will say hello. When I run this, I get an error saying name error. Okay. This is a syntax error. And I am getting this error because hello is not wrapped inside quotes. If I wrap this in quotes and if I run it, I will get hello as expected. Okay. Now we are not handling this kind of error. We are handling logical errors. Okay. Now there are many different types of errors we can get or exceptions we can get. Let me show you a couple of them now. I will say num is equal to 3, 4, 7, 23 and 44. This is a list, right? We can access the elements of a list using index numbers. So I will say num2 and it gives me 7 because 7 is in the index position or index number 2. But if I say index 6 and if I run this, I get an index error. Okay, because this is out of range. Alright, so look at this word. This is important for us. Okay, index error. Alright, so this is one type of error. Next, I will say print and 4 divided by 0. When I run this, I get another type of error which is 0 division error. Okay, this is not a syntax error. This is a logical error, a 0 division error. We cannot divide a number by 0. Okay. Next, we cannot convert a string to an integer. Correct? So when I run this, I get value error. Alright. So this is one more type of error. In the same way, there are many different types of errors or exceptions. And these exceptions can be handled using try and except. If we do not handle them, then they will interrupt our program. Alright. So let us learn to use the try and except. Okay. The syntax of try and except is try and then except. Okay. In try, we need to have the codes that are considered dangerous, meaning the codes that could potentially cause an error. Okay. Those codes must be placed in try, and generally accepting user input is considered dangerous because a user can type in anything, right? So here I will say num is equal to int input and I will say enter a number. When we have enter a number, we are expecting only numbers here, but a user can enter anything, right? Now I will have print 1 divided by number here. Alright. And in the except block, I will say 0 division error. And here I will say print the input can't be 0. Alright, so this is what I'll say. Now I will run this and it asks me to enter a number. I'll enter 5 and it says 0.2. I will run this once again and enter 0 now. And when I do that, it says the input can't be 0. Okay. Instead of giving a 0 division error, it says the input can't be 0. So we have handled a 0 division error here. Okay. So whatever is in try will be executed normally if the users enter proper input. If they enter 0, then except block will be activated and this will be executed. Alright, so let me clear this. Now, this cannot be any name. Okay, we cannot say 0 here and we cannot run it. I will enter 0 and it says 0 is not defined. It has to be this name or the name of the error. Okay, so 0 division error. Alright, so we need to have this here. I will run this. It says enter a number. I will enter 0 and it says the input can't be 0. Okay. If we are handling name error, then name error must be typed here. Okay. Proceeding further. If it is not a 0 division error, if the user enters a string instead of a number, then we need to handle it too. Correct? So I will run this program and enter hi. Now this is a string and not a number. And when I hit enter, I get a value error. Right? We have written an exception for 0 division error, but not value error. So let us take care of this now. I will say except and I will copy this and paste it here because we are handling value errors now. And inside this, I will say print, please enter only numbers. Okay. So I will clear this and I will run this. It says enter a number. I will enter hi and it says please enter only numbers. Okay. So we have handled value errors too. Alright. In the same way, we can have multiple except blocks to handle different types of exceptions. Alright. Now let me clear this. We can handle all types of errors using the word exception. Okay. And we can say anything that we want. So I will say invalid input. Alright. Now we are targeting all types of errors or exceptions. Okay. I will run this and it says enter a number. I will enter 0 and it says invalid input. I will run it and it says enter a number. I will enter hi and it says invalid input. Okay. We can handle any exception using this word, but it is not a good practice to do so because it catches all exceptions and this makes it difficult to understand what type of error has occurred. Okay, so it is better to catch specific exceptions and provide more informative error messages to the user. Alright. it is a good practice to tell the user what went wrong exactly rather than displaying a generic message like this. Alright, and so we can use this exception as a last resort for unforeseen errors, meaning we can club this. Okay, so I will paste it here, and here I will say except, and I will have exception, meaning we are handling zero division error by displaying this. We are handling value error by displaying this. And for all the other errors or exceptions, we are displaying this. Alright, so this is a better practice. Okay, so let me clear this. Now, there is one more block called finally. Finally block is optional and it always executes regardless of whether there is an exception or not. Okay, it is typically used for any necessary cleanup operations such as closing files, which we have not learned till now. Alright, so here let me delete this, and here I will say finally. Okay, and here I will say, only for this example, let's try again. Okay, I will run this and it says enter a number. I will enter 5 and I get the result along with let's try again. Even though 5 is a valid input, this message is displayed. Right? So whatever is in finally always executes. It doesn't matter whether an exception has occurred or not. Okay, I will run this and I will enter 0, and it says the input can't be 0, which is this, and let's try again. Alright, so this is optional, and as I mentioned before, it is used for any necessary cleanup operations. Alright, we will discuss file handling in the future, and at that time you will be able to appreciate the usage of finally block. Okay, but for now just remember that it always executes. Alright, so this is about exception handling. It is a crucial aspect of writing robust Python code.